For my project, I decided to create a website entitled The Power of Social Stigma as it relates to youth homelessness instead of the traditional essay. I asked the following questions directed to my website's audience. What do you do when you encounter a homeless person? Do you give them money or merely ignore their existence? Would this all change depending on the age of the homeless individual? Additionally, I drafted a survey that was sent out to 16 CU Boulder students between the ages of 18 and 19 to see how they feel about homeless individuals in their own age group. I asked the following questions. What do you do when you see a homeless individual on the street? Do you think your reaction would change if the homeless person was between the ages of 12 to 24? Why do you think this is? And would you frown more upon older homeless individuals or younger homeless individuals? One of my tabs is sociological terms. I thought that it was important for me to define the sociological terms that are mainly discussed not only in my website, but in my scholarly sources. I discussed sociology, which is the study of how individuals shape and are shaped by society and with social interaction. I defined youth homelessness as homelessness plaguing those between the age group of 12 and 24. I discussed social stigma, which is a mark of disdain or disgrace on an individual. Deviance is the breaking of pre-established norms collectively decided by society that will result in a negative reaction upon the deemed deviant individual. Social construction is where we, which is all of us, decide what is normal and what is not with regards to behaviors or what we think is normal. And finally, master status is the one status an individual is seen as, and it fails to reveal other facets of their life. My thesis is as follows. Stigmas have a dangerous power when attached to an individual, as it becomes the one lens that they are viewed from. Homeless youth tend to be seen as deviant individuals who are probably living on the streets as a way to escape the strict rules present in their parents' households, and the truth is often disregarded. Stigmas negatively affect a youth's psyche and may make it harder for them to access resources and support. Because social stigmas are collectively constructed and deemed as such by one's peers, we have the ability to reverse a stigma by regarding homeless youth merely as youth. This page is dedicated to my statistical findings. The first map that I have is the total homeless population by state in the year of 2018. You can see the darker states like California, Oregon, Washington, and Texas have larger homeless populations versus little states that are in light colors. My second map is from 2015 and it shows child homelessness by state. These darker states right here are 1 in every 1 to 15 child experiences homelessness in that state, while the lighter colors are 1 in every 41 plus children. Going back to my survey, these are my findings. My survey was administered to CU Boulder students aged 18 to 19, and so far 16 people have filled it out. First, I'd like to discuss an article that I found that supports these findings, and This Is Where You're Supposed to Be, How Homeless Individuals Cope with the Stigma. Authors Rachel Rayburn and Nicholas Guitar showcase how homeless youth manage when labeled with a stigma. They wrote that the rejected in the social world are disqualified by stigmatization and excluded from fully participating in social life. Although some of these identities have become less stigmatized over time, being homeless has remained a negative, deviant identity. So my first question asked, what do you do when you see a homeless individual on the street, no matter their age? And 62.5% of people said that they ignored them. Also, 12.5% said that they would give them money. When I asked what they think their reaction would be if a homeless person was between the ages of 12 to 24 and if their reaction would change, 62.5% said that they would change. To support this, many people discussed how they would empathize with them more because they're closer in age, or that they would sympathize with them more. Yet when I asked, would you frown more upon older homeless individuals or younger homeless individuals, 56.3% said that they would neither frown upon older or younger. Though, if you go up to my first question, 62.5 already ignore them. Page mainly talks about my scholarly sources, and I included my annotated bibliography so that people can reflect and see what sources I have found. After this, you may be asking, what can we do? Deviance is a behavior or behaviors that depart from a basic norm and bring about negative reactions. When an act is considered deviant, it is because an individual or a group of individuals are breaking the norms that we established. Knowing this, we must change the way that we view homeless youth and homelessness in general. The process of social construction requires an audience that would negatively regard the deviance and an audience response. This response could be as simple as a rude facial expression, or it could be as complex as social distancing. Using my sociological knowledge, I turn to the process mentioned above. I believe that it would still take an audience and a reaction, but we would have to alter our feelings in a significant manner for change to actually occur. It is an easy process to mark individuals with a stigma, but I would argue that it is even harder to detach the stigma from them. The audience, I feel, would have to publicly claim that they were in the wrong about the stigma and respond by reinviting the individual back into mainstream society. However, it is important to realize that the once stigmatized individual may be mentally, physically, and emotionally affected by the power of the stigma. It may be hard for them to reintegrate into society after being distanced for so long. The final page of my website is dedicated to resources. The resources that I found and included are from youth.gov. So they include federal programs that would help youth homeless, like basic center programs, transitional living programs, street outreach, and homeless and housing programs. And in this link, they include safe, stable living accommodations and how to receive help and apply for these. And finally, they conclude by having resources from federal programs that would end homelessness. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I really appreciate it.